Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Personal Growth Talks. I'm Jason, your host, and joining me, as always, is my amazing co-host, Julia. Julia, how's your day going?
Hi, Jason. My day's going great, thank you. And I'm really looking forward to today's episode because it's such a valuable topic that I think everyone can benefit from. How about you? How's your day so far?
Pretty good, thanks. And you're right, today's topic is something that we can all connect with because, let's face it, we've all had those moments where we forget something important or just can't seem to focus. That's why today we're diving into how to improve your memory.
Yes. Memory plays such a big role in our lives, whether it's at work, at school, or even in our personal relationships. Imagine being able to remember names, dates, and important details effortlessly. It can make such a huge difference.
Absolutely. And it's not just about remembering things. It's about staying mentally sharp and improving how we learn, solve problems, and connect with others. A strong memory can give us a real edge in life.
But here's the thing, Jason. So many people think they're just bad at remembering things, and they give up. What they don't realize is that memory is a skill, something you can train and strengthen just like a muscle.
Exactly, and that's what today's episode is all about. We're going to talk about why memory matters, how it works, and most importantly, share some simple yet effective tips to improve it. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just someone who wants to stay sharp, this episode is for you.
Yes, and we'll also tackle some common myths about memory, plus share some fun and practical exercises you can try at home. So whether you're listening on your commute, taking a walk, or relaxing at home, stick around. We've got an exciting episode ahead.
And if you find today's tips helpful, don't forget to share this podcast with a friend. Who knows, it might help them as much as it helps you. All right, Julia, shall we jump right in?
Let's do it. This is Personal Growth Talks, and today we're talking all about how to improve your memory. Let's get started.
Now that we're getting started, let's talk about something fundamental. Why is memory so important? Julia, what's your take on this?
Great question, Jason. Memory is at the core of everything we do. Think about it. Our ability to learn, make decisions, and even connect with others depends on how well we remember things. Whether it's recalling a loved one's birthday, remembering key points in a meeting, or even holding on to our favorite childhood memories, memory shapes how we experience life.
Exactly. It's not just about day-to-day tasks, though. Memory is a big part of achieving long-term goals, too. For example, if you're a student, your ability to retain what you study directly impacts your performance. Or, if you're a professional, remembering critical details can help you excel in your career.
And let's not forget relationships. Remembering little details about the people in your life, their likes, dislikes, or even something they mentioned in passing, shows that you care. It strengthens those bonds. Imagine someone remembering your favorite coffee order. It feels good, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And memory also helps with self-growth. Think about how we learn from our experiences. When we reflect on past mistakes or successes, it's our memory that allows us to grow and make better choices in the future.
That's such a great point, Jason. And here's something else to consider. A strong memory helps us stay productive. Have you ever forgotten a deadline or misplaced something important? It can totally throw off your day. But with a good memory, you can stay on top of things and reduce stress.
Right, and beyond that, memory plays a role in creativity too. When we recall different ideas, concepts, or past experiences, we're able to connect the dots and come up with new solutions. It's amazing how interconnected memory is with our overall brain power.
That's so true. And the best part is that improving memory can boost your confidence. When you can recall information easily or remember important details in conversations, it feels empowering. It's a skill that impacts every area of your life.
Exactly, Julia. So whether it's improving your work performance, strengthening relationships, or just staying sharp as you age, having a good memory is crucial. And the good news is, it's never too late to work on it.
Right. So now that we've covered why memory is so important, let's talk about how it works and what might be holding us back from improving it.
All right, before we dive into tips for improving memory, it's important to understand how memory actually works. Julia, can you explain the basics?
Sure, Jason. At its core, memory is our brain's way of storing, organizing, and retrieving information. It's divided into two main types: short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is like a temporary notepad. It holds small amounts of information for a short time, like remembering a phone number long enough to dial it.
Right. And then we have long-term memory, which stores information for much longer, days, months, or even years. This is where we keep important memories, like what we learned in school or special life events.
Exactly. But here's the catch. For information to move from short-term to long-term memory, it needs to be processed. That's where techniques like repetition, association, and focus come in. Without these, we're likely to forget things quickly.
That makes sense. And it's worth mentioning that memory isn't perfect. We all face challenges like distractions, stress, or even lack of sleep, which can affect how well we remember things. Have you noticed how hard it is to focus when you're tired, Julia?
Oh, definitely. It's a reminder that memory is influenced by so many factors: our physical health, mental state, and even our environment. But the good news is, once we understand how memory works, we can use specific strategies to make it stronger.
Exactly. So now that we have a basic understanding of memory, let's move on to the exciting part. Practical tips and habits to boost your memory starting today. All right, now it's time for the part everyone's been waiting for. Practical tips to improve your memory. Julia, why don't you kick us off with the first tip?
Absolutely. Tip number 1: get enough sleep. Sleep is like a reset button for your brain. When you sleep, your brain processes and organizes information, transferring it from short-term to long-term memory. Studies show that adults need 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep to keep their memory sharp. Jason, have you ever noticed how much better you remember things after a good night's sleep?
Definitely, Julia. And on the flip side, if I'm sleep deprived, I forget even the simplest things. That brings us to tip number 2, stay physically active. Exercise doesn't just keep your body healthy, it also boosts blood flow to the brain, which helps with memory and focus. Even a 30-minute walk a few times a week can make a big difference.
Great point, Jason. Tip number 3 is something I personally love. Use memory techniques. Strategies like visualization, creating associations, or using acronyms can help you remember things more effectively. For example, if you need to remember a grocery list, try creating a story in your mind that links all the items together.
That's a great idea. And that leads us to tip number 4, practice mindfulness and reduce distractions. Our memory works best when we're fully present. If you're trying to learn or remember something, focus on it without multitasking. Julia, have you tried mindfulness exercises for improving focus?
Yes, I have. Even simple breathing exercises can help clear your mind. Another effective tip is organize your environment. Clutter can make it harder to focus, which affects memory. Keeping things tidy and writing down tasks in a planner or app can free up mental space for more important things.
Absolutely. Tip number 6 is something we all know, but sometimes neglect. Eat a brain-healthy diet. Foods rich in antioxidants, healthy fats, and omega-3s, like blueberries, nuts, and fish, are great for brain health. And staying hydrated is key too. Even mild dehydration can impair your focus and memory.
Yes, nutrition plays such a big role. And here's tip number 7: challenge your brain. Your memory improves when you give it a workout. solve puzzles, play memory games, learn a new skill, or even try learning a new language. These activities keep your brain active and engaged.
Great suggestion. And tip number 8 is use repetition to your advantage. If there's something you want to remember, review it multiple times. Spaced repetition, revisiting the information at intervals, can help move it to your long-term memory.
Spaced repetition is so powerful. And here's my favorite, tip number 9. Stay socially active. Engaging in conversations, sharing ideas, or even just catching up with friends helps stimulate your brain. Socializing is a fun way to keep your mind sharp.
Totally agree. And for our final tip, number 10, take breaks. When you're learning something new, don't try to cram. Short, focused sessions with breaks in between actually help your brain absorb information better.
Exactly. Breaks help your brain recharge and consolidate what you've learned. So, there you have it. 10 simple yet powerful tips to improve your memory. The best part? You can start applying these tips right away.
That's right. Whether it's getting better sleep, staying active, or trying new memory techniques, these habits can make a huge difference over time. Now let's wrap up with a quick recap and some final thoughts. Now that we've covered some great tips, let's clear up a few common myths about memory. Julia, have you heard the one about how people believe memory naturally gets worse with age and there's nothing you can do about it?
Oh, I've definitely heard that, Jason, but it's not entirely true. While it's normal for memory to change as we age, it doesn't mean it has to decline drastically. Research shows that staying mentally active, eating healthy, and practicing memory exercises can help keep your brain sharp, even as you get older.
Exactly. Another myth I've come across is the idea that some people are just born with a good memory, and if you don't have it, you're out of luck.
That's such a common one. But memory is a skill, Jason. It can be improved with practice. Sure, some people might naturally have better memory abilities, but with the right techniques, anyone can enhance their memory. It's all about consistent effort.
Right, and here's a fun myth to debunk. The belief that multitasking helps you remember more because you're doing so many things at once.
Oh, that one's definitely a myth. Multitasking actually divides your attention and makes it harder to focus on and retain information. Instead, focusing on one thing at a time helps your memory far more.
Absolutely. Here's another myth. People often think that technology, like smartphones, is ruining our memory.
Well, while it's true that over-reliance on tech can make us a little lazy with remembering things like phone numbers, technology isn't all bad. It can also help us stay organized and remind us of important tasks. It's about finding balance and using tech wisely.
Exactly. So the next time someone tells you these myths, you can confidently say they're not entirely true. What matters is how we take care of our memory and the steps we take to improve it.
That's right, Jason. Now that we've debunked these myths, let's move on to how to make these tips a part of your daily life.
Now that we've talked about tips and busted some myths, let's dive into practical exercises that anyone can do to boost their memory. Julia, what's a simple exercise to start with?
One of the easiest and most effective exercises is the memory palace technique. Picture a familiar place like your home and mentally place pieces of information you want to remember in different locations. For example, if you're trying to memorize a list of groceries, imagine a carton of milk on your couch and a loaf of bread on your kitchen counter.
That's a fun one. Another great exercise is chunking. This involves breaking down information into smaller, manageable chunks. For instance, instead of trying to remember a long number like 567123890, group it into chunks 567123890. It's much easier to remember that way.
Absolutely. And here's another. Practice active recall. After you've read or learned something, close the book or turn off the screen and try to recall the key points. This forces your brain to retrieve the information, strengthening your memory in the process.
I love that one, Julia. Another practical exercise is association. This is when you link new information to something you already know. For example, if you're meeting someone named Rose, imagine a rose flower in your mind whenever you see them.
That's a great tip, Jason. And here's a simple exercise you can do anywhere. Play memory games. There are plenty of apps and puzzles like Sudoku or memory matching games that can train your brain to retain information better. Even card games like matching pairs are helpful.
Exactly. Another easy practice is writing things down. When you write, you're not only creating a record, but you're also reinforcing the information in your brain. It's especially helpful for remembering names, dates, or key ideas.
One last one to add: meditation for focus. It might sound surprising, but even 5 minutes of meditation a day can improve your focus and attention span, which are key for remembering things more effectively.
That's a fantastic suggestion, Julia. These exercises are easy to fit into your day, and over time, they can make a big difference in how well you remember things.
Exactly. The key is consistency. Choose one or two of these exercises and practice them regularly. You'll notice improvements before you know it.
All right, that wraps up today's episode on how to improve your memory. We've talked about why memory is important, how it works, tips to enhance it, common myths, and even practical exercises you can start using today.
Exactly, Jason. And remember, improving your memory isn't something that happens overnight. It's about building small, consistent habits that make a big difference over time. Whether it's getting enough sleep, practicing mindfulness, or trying out memory games, every step counts.
We hope today's tips and techniques inspire you to take better care of your memory and give these strategies a try. If you found this episode helpful, here's what you can do next.
First, subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel for more episodes like this. We're always sharing practical advice on personal growth and learning.
Second, share this episode with a friend or family member. Helping someone else improve their memory is a great way to reinforce what you've learned.
And third, let us know in the comments which tip or exercise you're excited to try. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, your memory is a powerful tool, and with the right care and effort, you can unlock its full potential.
Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and take good care of yourself.